Before we get started tonight, ladies and gentlemen, on another episode of Fast Break here on IE Sports Radio, I want to introduce y'all to a couple of our sponsors, our only sponsor, the Southern California Warriors semi-pro football team. The world of semi-pro sports is unlike any other sports organizations out there. Players playing to play and host so many different outcomes, whether it's playing to get film, to try for professional teams, big-time colleges, or just playing to stay in shape. No matter what, all semi-pro players have one thing in common, and that's playing for the love of the game. The SoCal Warriors have been on a quest to earn titles and give players second chances since 2017. Wherever you're in Southern California or anywhere in the world, give semi-pro sports a chance if you love your sport. You may get that second chance you've been waiting for as an athlete. You can find them on social media at Twitter at SoCal Warriors, on Instagram, Southern California _Warriors, and on Facebook, Southern California Warriors. Now on to the show. On tonight's broadcast, we'll just go over Game 1 of the NBA Finals that happened this Thursday. And with Game 2 tipping up here in the next few minutes, we'll go over our predictions and give out who wins that game as well. Plus, should the Lakers really give up a first round pick for Russell, along with Russell Westbrook in trade scenarios? We'll discuss that and more here on IE Sports Fast Break for IE Sports Radio. Your direct feed for that is always sports, and you're welcome to join us. And join us as you shout tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We'll have a bang up show for y'all tonight. We'll have lots of fun, lots of discussion. Before we get started, I do want to shout out condolences to Anthony Grant and his family, head coach of Dayton basketball. They lost their daughter, I think like earlier that last week. Don't know the circumstances, but regardless, condolences to his family on losing their 20-year-old daughter. So before we get off going here, I do want to shout that say that over there. D-Lock, how you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Interesting NBA finals going on so far. It's an interesting series, and it started with Game 1.
Well, Game 2 is about to tip off here a little bit. Let's go over Game 1 real quick. In the chat, asking you, welcome back, D-Lock. How was your vacation, sir?
It was pretty good. It went by pretty fast. Doing multiple things. Had family there. Was a Memorial Day weekend. But I still stayed busy looking at different results. I was actually in Miami, expecting the crowd to go crazy after they win, but unfortunately, they took the L to Boston, and I tried to get out of there as quick as I
can. Well, going to Game 1, and Terry Rodriguez brought it up. The 40-19 differentials in scoring in that quarter favored the Celtics. In your eyes, D-Lock, how did Golden State lose that big lead in Game 1?
Well, for me, the biggest thing that I realized is this team, uh, Golden State was in a situation where they're used to playing teams uh, that don't really come back. They may play a little bit of decent defense, but they don't come back and shoot as much or as good as they can. So they ran into a Boston team that does play good defense and it comes back and can score when they want. I mean, we've seen it in the past. But it was early in the season. We've seen, I think it was it Boston against New York, the first game of the season?
Yeah.
And that alone, anytime New York got some shots, Boston came back and scored. And remember, I was telling you this since we started the show, that the problem that Boston had for the longest is the fact that Boston, they already have one. They don't know who the main guy most part. They rely on three people in Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, and Jason Tatum. But this year, it seems like we know who that guy is. We know that Jason Tatum is the main guy for that team. You have the game playing towards him. Now Jason Tatum can catch five. Marcus Smart can go ahead and get a couple of threes, and then Al Horford. So for me, and I feel like the focus was on Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum didn't have that scoring type of game that we expected. Like he did put up 13 assists, but also credit to Al Horford making 6 for 8 threes the last game.
Yes, sir.
So that played a huge part. But my biggest thing is when Golden State missed their threes and missed their shots, Boston capitalized. That was the problem with Dallas when they played them. That was the problem with Memphis when they played them at some point. And also a big thing that I looked at, go back and look at that game, Boston bigs dominated. They would get anything they wanted. So for me, I think the bigs play a huge part. But Golden State has run into a team that can score with them, but also play defense. Mm-hmm. And Golden State is not used to that, especially on the West. I mean, there's not many other teams, I believe, on the West that can score and come back and play defense. So for me, that was the key thing that made the difference for me to say that they pulled away. I mean, they went on like a 17-0 run or something like that, something insane, and Golden State. So that is something that I actually paid attention to is, they come back and play that defense. Klay Thompson didn't shoot that good. Steph started out hot early. But besides that, nothing really happened. But on the defensive side, now Golden State is not really playing defense, which we see them do often. Both Boston capitalized, and that was a big difference for me.
I think for me, you mentioned it right there. Defense. This team's been preached consistently by UK Okada about defense. He's got these guys bought in. Golden State is a team that's pretty lax. I don't know if you agree with that or not. They're pretty lax in terms of things. And like you mentioned, yeah, sometimes they get up big and some teams don't really, trying to come back like that. Now, of course, that's the regular season. We're talking about the NBA Finals. And in the NBA Finals, you're doing all you could all you can to win a championship. And credit to Boston, they did all they did, plus some, to win Game 1, and by double digits, I might add. Jason Tatum didn't have his best game, his shooting game, but assist-wise, 13 assists, 5 rebounds. Shout out to the bench for Boston. Derek White, Peyton Pritchard, shot a combined 7-11 for 3-point land. That's pretty damn big against this Warriors team. I think, for me, and we talked about this a little bit before air, Steve Kerr can't sit Steph Curry forever. I know he got his rotation and stuff like that. And yes, Steph had 34 points. Yes, he was shooting lights out in that first half. But in that fourth quarter, you got to keep him in. You got to keep this team like an arm length away. You got to do all you could to secure that win to feel confident in yourself. No lead is safe. All right? Basketball is a game built on runs. And Steve Kerr should know that as a coach. Basketball is a game built on runs. So I hope, with game 2 here, kicking off, you'll recognize that.
Well, it seems like right now Boston has already started hot. So that shows you that they're coming out meaning business. Now the biggest question is, do you see Golden State getting swept?
No.
Is that possible?
No. If that happens, then
Don't think so?
If that happens, I'll give all the credit in the world to UK Dakota. I'm not a big team Boston person. I'll go get a damn. I love Boston shirt. If he did that, I was like, that'd be a hell of a coaching job right there. And just look at the game right now. Boston's up 13-5 D-Lock. And great block by Al Horford right there. And you got to reward the big man going down the post. But anyways, I think that's one thing that I think you mentioned by Al Horford. Golden State really didn't have to contend with a lot of bigs like that. If you really think about it in their playoff run. Yeah, there's Jaren Jackson. Yeah, they didn't play Steve Adams in that series until late, and it was kind of like too late for that. And then, yeah, they played Jokic, but it was Jokic and versus all of them. But you got two different style bigs for Boston. Robert Williams, a grounded out type of big man, play tough defense, good putback guy, etc. Al Horford, more of like a finesse big that can stretch it out, especially at his older age, and just give you a different dynamic on defense, especially the passing wise as well. In my eyes.
That's the thing is Golden State don't really have. That's what we talked about earlier this year is the fact that they don't have any bigs like that. They struggle. The reason why Memphis had the games that Memphis won against Golden State, they were dominating the bigs were dominating. Steven Adams had a hell of a game against them. Jaren Jackson was having a stunner game against them a few times. So for me, I think that we've seen that struggle in the past. And now you're looking at a team in Boston who has a shooter and you're big in Al Horford and defender. Now it's looking like the fact that Robert Williams also can score as well. So Golden State got their hands full and they're showing it right now, even in game 2. The bigs are kind of doing what they want. Jaylen Brown is cooking right now.
Yeah, he's cooking. Then, looking at, watching this game live, ladies and gentlemen, Jason Tatum missed 2 opportunities at the rim. He got to convert on those easy bunnies. He got to. And like you alluded to, and Jason Tatum just hit the 3-pointer right there. He's got to have a strong game. I mean, yeah, it's nice that Brown and Horford had good games and Derek White had a good game off the bench. But who's to say Derek White gonna have another 20-point game off the bench? You know? Who's to say Al Horford gonna shoot 6 for 8 from 3-point land? I think that's one thing, when we're watching the deterioration of Jason Tatum, like you have alluded to over the past, you got to be consistent, and especially in this scenario here, in this playoff run here, at times, his impact ain't felt. You know, and Terry Rodriguez brought up the point. Golden State has run into a team at full strength. Though I'm not sure if Dallas had anyone miss at any point in the Western Conference Finals. Yeah, they missed Tim Hardaway, Taryn. They missed Tim Hardaway. I think that's a big key right there, but I don't think that would have made it too much of a difference. Maybe not. But for Boston, though, and he brought the injury thing up, you beat a Brooklyn team that's kind of like a hot mess, one can say, with Kyrie, Kevin Durant. You play a Milwaukee team that was down Chris Middleton, but they still took you to 7 regardless. And then you kind of went against a Miami team that took you to 7, but was kind of like on their last leg. Now you get to this team. I mean, Iguodala is being hurt, but they're pretty much at full strength. But you put all that stuff to the side. Once you hear it, you playing all out. Like you talked before. Hey, you rest at the end of the season.
My thing is, it's just that this team is. We had questions about the Boston move, right, against Milwaukee. Playing Chris Middleton without Chris Middleton, we were thinking, well, that's a big piece for Milwaukee. We don't know how big of a difference it's going to make when they get to the next round. But I think I told you, even when they blew out Brooklyn, they swept them, even though they had the Kyrie and Kevin Durant thing situation going on. I just felt as if it could have been Boston's year. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure that sweep, regardless of what Kyrie did during the season, it's probably made a huge difference confidence-wise for Boston. I don't know if many people remember, but back in the Olympics, when Imani Udoka was the coach there, it was a video that Kevin Durant came out with, talking to Patty Mills. I think Patty Mills' team got bronze, I believe. And Kevin Durant was like, it's going to be a problem for the Boston Celtics this year. That takes it way back just to kind of get it back connection between the Nets and the Celtics because, Udoka coached him with that team. But besides that, this Boston team seems as if they've been clicking on all cylinders. I mean, I had it in a struggle against Miami, and they lost Game 6 and then went to Miami and won. Did the same thing when they went to Game 7 with Milwaukee. So they've been through a lot right now. So the things that they're going through with Golden State, this is going to just be, okay, if they have to go to Game 7, they've done it. So for me, I just feel like this could be a Boston year. Now, Golden State is just loaded still. I think we're seeing how much of a piece Wiseman is to them.
Yeah.
How much they miss him because he could be a very big piece for them. As good as Draymond is on defense, he's not big enough to play with those bigs. So He's just, not going to match up with both of those guys. So for me, this series could be a shocker, man. I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of people had Golden State winning. I heard a lot of people say that there's no way the Warriors lose. I was also making that statement before Boston even got in there, but things happen, and we're looking like right now. Like I said, I think Golden State is fighting back now, but for them to steal game one was a big shocker already.
Yeah, it was a big shocker. Some people praise Golden State's defense, which at pockets at times they look good, but I mean, if you talk about like a consistent threat at defense for this team, I don't see it all the time. I really don't. That's just me. If I look at things, so going back to the look at the game live right here.
Klay Thompson is off right now.
Oh, I think I alluded to it in the past that the rent may come due, and what I meant by that, and Jelly Brown just airball the ball right there. What I meant by that, yeah, he has come back from 2 severe leg injuries. He had missed 2 good years of basketball. The Warriors have still on their rookie deals Jordan Poole and Moses Moody. Klay is about around our age. Could you see them possibly moving on from him? I know Golden State, they paid damn near $278 million in luxury tax, which is just absolutely crazy. If you really think it, that's wow. But I think we talk about in the past, Rob in the past, that after a while, rich people, they kind of want to scale that back the books a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And bold prediction.
Yeah.
I know we're talking about. I like to focus on the game, but bold prediction, kind of off topic. I can possibly see the Warriors move on for Klay Thompson.
Oh, that's a tough one right there.
And seeing Gary Payton Jr. Gary Payton Jr. come back in the game. Been out since the Memphis series, so good for him to come back. He's getting a standing ovation from the folks in San Francisco. So, how do you see Gary Payton factoring in things with his defense and whatnot against the Celtics team? Like,
I think he's going to play a huge part just because they need that other guard up in there, especially to give that rest that Steph needs. But the biggest thing for me is I think it is about Gary Payton, but it's also about Jordan Poole. They need to get those guys going. They need to have a bigger impact. But even with that, it goes back to what you were saying earlier. Your Steph, your Klay, those guys they gotta get their shot. They gotta get a high value amount of minutes. We're talking about at the end of the season right now. So we're not talking about mid-season or first round of the playoffs. This is the time where it counts the most. Talking about the NBA Finals right now. So at this point, they're behind the 8 ball. Right now, Boston has the home court advantage. And mess around and win this game, might be in some trouble. So I think more of this relies more so on the Steph and the Klay. It also makes you question what really happens with the team that had Kevin Durant. That's the question that's going to happen if they lose this NBA Finals. Is was KD that big of a piece for them to win? So again, it's going to be a hard thing to digest for a lot of people if this team does fall. But I think Gary Payton is going to play a role, but not as big of a role as we expect or as we want.
And watching now, Draymond, I don't know if you saw, he picked up a technical, with a foul by Grant Williams. So Draymond got his first tech. So, yeah, I told you about. I always bring this up by Grant Williams. Sometimes he's trying to do too much. Now, granted, it resulted in technical for Draymond, but still, dude, you found Draymond Green on the offensive end, like you alluded to. Like, you shouldn't sweat Draymond on the offensive end. You know what I'm saying? So that's the stupid foul by him. And then Draymond trying to look at Draymond trying to do too much.
That's Draymond. It's like Draymond is that player that played like years back, and that's always going to affect them. You get a tech, man. You can't get too many of those.
No.
Isn't that his second technical foul during the playoffs?
It could be. I have to look it up. I know
he got one against Memphis.
Yeah, I know Luka was leading. Him and Luka are kind of like neck and neck in technicals.
Yeah, I can see that. Luka does do a lot of complaining to them refs too. Yeah, so he's gonna get just for that. So that, and then you got Mr. I want to grab the jersey and pull somebody down, and Draymond, like, some of that stuff is unnecessary.
Damn, Derek White just missed a layup right there. Gary Payton, ooh, fast break. He missed a layup, but they got the foul call on Jaylen Brown. God, the missed layup so far in this game. It's like, God, y'all guys at the rim. Oh, Jaylen Brown didn't even touch him.
They ain't gonna let this one get too physical like the last series.
No. But Jaylen Brown got robbed out there, ladies and gentlemen. He didn't even foul him.
But this is gonna be a good series. This is the most important game, I believe, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Especially for Golden State.
Because that Boston crowd, they're not going to be as conservative as the people in San Francisco.
Nah, it'll be a different thing. And that's why I said, like, if they lose this game, what happens? Like, if Boston takes this win, they go to Boston, this might be a sweep.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be, just because of hell, the NBA season is already over. But first of all, who's expecting Boston to even win that first game? And now they're on the verge of pushing them. They bringing it right now in this game too. So they get to Boston, man, they might mess around and finish this out. And that probably would be the most shocking NBA final results ever, in my eyes, if that's the case.
Yeah, and like you just said, they really kind of calling this tight right now. And right now they're going to the video on the breakaway foul on the fast break.
I feel like maybe Golden State felt as if they can just jack up threes against this team, and which that's their game. It's just that this team has both. Like I said earlier, this team has both defense and offense. You miss a three, they're gonna go back and get 2 points at least, because they have that offense. But they got threes. Clearly, we can see with Horford hitting 6 from 8 last game. Jaylen Brown is cooking right now, and if Jason Tatum gets on fire, it's really over with. So this series is going to be interesting. but hopefully it doesn't end quicker than we expect.
If that sweep, if let's go over your scenario, if the Celtics do sweep, if they happen to sweep the Warriors, how will it look on Steph Curry's legacy? Because the media folks, they kind of harp on championships and stuff like that, and finals records and all that stuff. How would that look for Steph Curry's legacy if that sweep were to happen?
For my mind, I personally feel like it's not gonna it'll make a huge effect. I just think that at this point we know Steph has a long history. I still think he's one of the greatest players of all time. It just to me, I think that this also means that he's gonna have to go back. You don't want that to be the last NBA final appearance if you're Steph. It is getting swept. So I do think that it doesn't make a big impact, but it is something that will be seen by many. And they'll say, well, damn, like I said earlier, like, did he needed KD to do this, do that? And because remember, before KD got there, they had the best team ever, and then they lost to the Cavs. So now you do that, you go get, another top 3 player, and Kevin Durant go win a couple rings. Then all of a sudden, Kevin Durant gets hurt. They play against the Raptors, and they can't close that out. Then you get swept by a Boston team. That means 2 losses in San Francisco. People are gonna definitely say something, but in my opinion, I don't really think it made too much of an impact on his legacy. I still think he's one of the greatest players of all time, but I guarantee that it's not going to be the last time he's in the NBA Finals if that happens.
Yeah, I think to talk about your scenario, if Boston sweeps Golden State, I don't think it hurts too bad, but it'll be a stinker because people are always going to look back at the Cleveland championship win, and they will still bring that up. Like, you had 3-1 lead against those guys and let them come back at home, of all places. The Toronto series. At certain points in that series, you kind of had the Raptors until the injuries happened, but still, at times you felt like you had control. With this time around, yes, you're older, but you kind of been here before. You got a group of guys that never been there before, except for your head coach that's been like an assistant coach in the past. But will it hurt his legacy? No. I think, him not having the NBA Finals trophy, I don't say it'll hurt or anything like that, but he already got his spot for the Hall of Fame. I think it won't hurt. I mean, if he loses series 4-0, I mean, it'll get talked about. And I think if that happens, I look at the Boston side of things, you get that 18th banner. And, let me say this while we're live on air, D-Lock. If the Boston Celtics win this series, I'll be happy. I'm not a big Boston sports fan at all. It's a difference. I'll talk about that story down the road. But if Boston Celtics win this series, I would say thank God for this one reason. They can stop trotting out that 08 Celtic team every damn time they could.
Yeah, exactly.
I tired of looking at them. Every time you look up, they doing some celebration for them.
Paul Pierce had.
Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett. They act like it's like the greatest damn team of all time.
Oh, and don't forget the beef that Kevin Durant got with Ray Allen.
Oh
That
yeah,
ain't never going no damn well.
yeah, and yes, Garnett's beef with Ray Allen. I was like, damn, y'all just can't let that go. And not even damn. Some of these Boston folks' personalities as well. Looking at you, Bill Simmons, Ryan Rosillo. But God, dog. I said, if this Celtics teams win, like, good. Stop bringing y'all around. Even even high school teams don't do that crap.
Nope.
Yo, where I live at right now, one of the county schools, the girls won a championship, like about like 15 years ago, something like that. And they like finally kind of like brought them back around to honor them, like kind of like hey, first title, all that stuff a while back. Hey, we're gonna bring y'all back, get everybody back we can, and kind of honor y'all. 15 years ago. Here, with these jokers, hell, they do something every few months or so. Or they always gotta bring it up in conversations.
You can't let that, and that's why you can't let teams like that win. They won't let that shit go for nothing.
Oh.
It's like that one person you playing something like a video game or something, or you playing pool, you playing them in a game, you beat them all the time, but you let them win that one time, they would never let it go. They would keep talking about it until the end of time.
Terry brought up the point, D-Lock. He said the Celtics wouldn't have won that championship back on if Andrew Bynum played in the NBA Finals, and he got hurt. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. I kind of look at it, yeah, because if Bynum would play D-Lock, I think he did enough against Kendrick Perkins, and I hated the notion that they acted like Kendrick Perkins was like this all world defensive stopper down low. I I I, I still
That
don't.
definitely wasn't him.
I was like even now I still don't know where that came from. Like Kendrick Perkins, he's a great defensive player down low and all that stuff. Like, if y'all say so. I just think if you play against certain players, and at that time, like Terry brought up, you got Gasol playing center good majority of the time. Yeah, Gasol is more a finesse guy in a sense. Yeah, you're going to kind of push him around, but with bad knees behind him, you probably won't get that luxury.
Yeah, I mean, it made it seem like Kendrick Perkins was just this guy. And don't forget Andrew Bynum, like he always had them knee issues, so we seen something in him, but he never hit that highest potential that we think he could have hit.
You know what's so funny about Bynum? And I know we did the What If series last week, but I have no What If with the Lakers with Bynum. The year they traded for Gasol and went for the finals, all that stuff. If some of y'all don't remember, the Lakers, they were at the top of the West pre Gasol. Let's not. I know some. Let's go back to the memory bank at that time. The Lakers were the top of the West pre-Pau Gasol. Bynum was playing at an all-star level before going out with injury. When we went down to injury, Lakers kind of had to adjust, and they made a trade for Gasol, and then also, and we know the rest. But here's a what if, D-Lock. If Bynum would stay healthy through that run, never got hurt, do they even make the trade for Pau Gasol? Or do they still do it, granted who they gave up?
Well, for me, that's I don't think they make that big trade only because you're talking about Bynum had so much potential. I would say he was the Embiid before Embiid expectation, but he had some high expectations of what he can do. Then you're talking about in LA where they keep all their bigs. They even trade for bigs. Or sign bigs. So for me, I don't think that they trade him just because Bynum was pretty young then, and that would have been a statement of what they were trying to do moving forward. But that's one of them questions, like you said, it's a what if question, and we would never know. But it just, it so much expectation from an Andrew Bynum, and for it to be, damn, you know what I mean? Like that kind of sucks. But knowing the Lakers, they're gonna make trades regardless. They're gonna say, "Hey, you're not helping us right now. We're gonna move on." Because we seen them do the same thing with Brandon Ingram, and that whole class. And look at them guys now.
Yeah, that's a big what if for me. Taryn brought up, the 5-4 three positions were messed up when Bynum went down. Yeah, they did. Yeah, I do remember that. And Val, they pay all that money, that mid-level money to Val Radmanovich, and he do diddly poo for the Lakers, and especially after he got hurt with the snowboard incident or something like that, skiing, whatever. He did something that really kind of just put him on Phil's bad side for the rest of his time there. But that's a big what if right there. Talking about finals and stuff like that. If Biden didn't go out, do the Lakers still make that trade? They sitting at the top of the West. Maybe, maybe not. But shit, giving up what they gave up to get Gasol, they could probably do that again. They probably do that 10 times out of 10, even with a healthy bottom. And with a healthy bottom, you know, they probably will beat that Celtic team and probably had another three. And Kobe retired with Jordan on ring count.
And the thing about that is, how Kobe is. Kobe is such a competitor.
Mm-hmm.
Some of those moves definitely had to be made. So for me, I definitely see that being uh, something that would have impacted Kobe. Or he is a person that added up those rings and would have made a bigger difference making that trade. But Bynum is just so many expectations, man. Like you type of player that you look at and say, man, what could have been, or what should have been.
Yeah.
So that sucks right there.
Yeah, and hearing what Bottom has said in the past, and his famous quote when he got traded, there's a bank in every city. His infamous quote. I was like, well, at least you're motivated by one thing. And I just hope he saved all his money or invested it pretty well.
Yeah, you can say some stuff like that. Then we know what you seriously focusing on. So he wanted to make sure that he had the cash. He was gonna get that no matter where he went at around that time with the potential. But it's just the fact that nothing came out of it at all, really.
Is that long my checks cleared, they in my bank, my taxes are taken out. Life is good, baby.
But those type of players are the ones that Kobe didn't want to be around or LeBron shouldn't be around because it's going to affect, like you said, that ring count, that championship status. So those kind of players, um, is something that some teams would be like, nah, or players would be like, nah, I don't want that. I don't want that person around me. They're not helping me at all. So, but no, that's why he didn't reach that potential for that reason.
Saying watching this game, why is Draymond talking to the refs on his review? He had
Draymond trying to always give up.
he had nothing to do with the play between Jordan Poole and Derek White. Why he's in the why he's in the mix? Like if I was an NBA ref, I'll just tee him up just to tee him up. Like I'll be treating him like Rasheed Wallace. I'll just tee you up just to tee you up.
Yeah, because that'll make sure that you're not coming to me about every damn thing that's happening.
I'm like, damn dog.
That's kind of like when you see football players do the same thing after a play. They go to the ref and say, "Man, watch this and watch every play." Like the same thing on the court. Any whistle blown, Draymond is going to the ref about something.
I know. Well, LeBron, he's bad about that too. LeBron's bad about
And the
that.
thing about it is, right now, like I said, they're shooting with them. Go ahead.
I just saying LeBron's bad about that as well. Just think about other players, Luca, off the top of my head. Um, Joel.
James Harden.
You think so?
Yeah, man. Especially now that Skip playing. I mean, he ain't getting them calls no more. He definitely gonna have to complain.
Let me ask you this question before we get off the air and kind of go back to this game too. I was watching this video. Laker Nation is like I guess a fan site, whatever. One of the big fan sites for the Lakers. The guy who did the video, he did an all out, like all in type of scenario for the Lakers. The one scenario he did for the Lakers for Russell Westbrook in the trade with the Indiana Pacers. And there's been stories about if the Lakers were to trade Russell Westbrook, they got to attach a first round pick or two, which I think is asinine. But in his scenario, he would trade Westbrook for Malcolm Brogdon and Buddy Hield, along with a first round pick. If you're the Lakers and you don't have this pick till 2027, Westbrook off the books after this year. You're taking in two salaries for down the road. Are you giving up a first along with Russ for Malcolm Brogdon and Buddy Hield?
That's a tough one. To be honest with you, hell yeah, I am. The reason why I say that is because for one, we know what Russ is. That's one. Two, right now, LeBron's time is ticking. He's not going to be in LA for long. Um, Now I know you have Buddy Hill, you have Brogdon contracts. You're looking at the injured Brogdon. He can really never stay healthy. Um, Kind of looking at a situation like Anthony Davis, but not. I probably wouldn't say that caliber star, but he is going to be hurt. He has been in the past. But for me, you clearly see what happened this year with the Russ experience. And at this point, the number one goal would be to get off of that contract. That's what I'm trying to do. I don't want any parts of that. Because to be honest with you, Russ is not going to come off the bench. That's just not going to happen. I think in the best situation, it is best for him to possibly come off the bench. I don't think he's going to do that. You get a shooter in Buddy Hield who you should have gotten a while back in the trade. You get a different type of guard in Brogdon. Still got, I believe, Kendrick Nunn on the books as well. So you're not really hurting that much at the point guard position. But for me, it's more so the fact that you're off of Russ than getting the big contracts from Buddy Hield and Halliburton. I'm not going to be able to go through another year where his play hasn't changed. He was in Washington, he was playing like that. When he was in Houston, he played like that. When he played in OKC, like, for what the Lakers are trying to do, that play is not going to work. Now, if you want somebody that's going to sell jerseys, stat pad, you want to continue to go that way, you have LeBron who's going to be Bron, and then you have Russ who's going to, do what he do. But that's not what the Lakers are about. They're about winning titles. So, for me, come on, man. We've seen it in the past recently, but we just had a playoffs without the Lakers, without LeBron and the Lakers. I'm pretty sure that hurt ratings big time. So, they didn't even make the playoff matchup. Play the game in, the play in. So for me, I will get off of that play of Russ and try your luck and try your plays with Buddy Hield and Brogdon, because we knew before the season that the Russ and LeBron wasn't going to work, and we thought hopefully they can find a way. It just didn't work, man. Russ is just too violent. The way he plays, his percentage is not there. He's just too aggressive. He kind of plays like he's playing 21, and it's not going to work. So I would do it just to get off of that and get a fresh start, see if I can build with something else. But I do know the effect of having the big contracts and the injury possibilities and Brogdon. But you do get a shooter also in Buddy Hield who can be inconsistent from time, but I would definitely take his shots over Russ.
Going to the chat real quick. Turn said he would do the trade. The Lakers draft capital is bad enough as it is. Can't get much worse. And he also said Lakers might also be looking to trade for a second round pick or looking for to develop an undrafted free agent. Okay, I appreciate that, Terry. I appreciate that. But I'll get to that second part, your second post right there. Me personally, D-Lock, the Pacers are in weird rebuild mode. I think it was indicated Trey Rance a bonus and whatnot, and God knows what they're going to do with T.J. Warren. But I don't think T.J. Warren will be back because they've taken a couple wings here the past couple years, and they have shown they can score. That, yeah, okay, they could bring her back, but you got these young guys that you can develop here, and you got Halliburton in the fold. He played pretty well for y'all when he came in from the trade. So you got that going. If I'm the Lakers, I'm not giving no first round pick. I'm sorry. That's down the line. That's potentially after LeBron is gone. Davis, God knows what's going to happen with him down at 2027. Who else you going to have in the fold? You got no draft capital like that. So by that time, it'll give you a chance to kind of reset things as a franchise. The reason I'm not giving a first round pick, and the Lakers should not be desperate to do any type of deal. Because if I give up a first round pick for Malcolm Brown and Buddy Hield, then I get some draft capital back. Like Taryn brought up about the second round pick. I asked for a second round pick back. Reason why? Malcolm Brown has not been a healthy player in the NBA. Let's be real about that. I know with Russ, that guy's a warrior. He's going to come out and play. That's my thing. But Malcolm Brogdon, when the last time has he played like an 80 game year or 82 game year, or at least 80 games?
In a while.
It's been a while. I'm trying to pull this up real quick. Let's see.
Problem is, he ain't still healthy for nothing. That's the biggest loss you were making that.
I'm trying to look it up. It's like I'm looking right now. Like January, he didn't play a whole bunch. December, that's why his best month this past year. February, he barely played at all. March, he played for a little stretch, but then after that, he was gone for the rest of the year. I'm sorry. And you go to previous years, he's always out for something, for multiple games. And you talking about a Lakers team that's trying to get back to a contending playoff level. Can he stay healthy enough to be there? That's my point. And I'm not giving him a first round pick. I'll tell him this: hey, you trying to give me a guy that y'all pay big money for whatever reason that can't stay healthy. You know? And player like you alluded to, like Buddy Hield, ain't consistent enough. And like Taryn brought up about the second round picks, Indiana Pacers, I looked this up on Friday, excuse me. They got 2 second round picks. And the draft class that's pretty deep on 3-and-D wings that the Lakers desperately need. One guy like Taryn alluded to, who they work out, and y'all know I'm an Alabama fan, but they brought this guy for a workout. Keon Ellis. 6'6" wing from Alabama. Like the perfect role. 3-and-D, 6'6", defend, shoot threes. Play in the system with Nate Oates that you run down the court, play positionless basketball. All that works. That's what the Lakers need. A dude like that. If I give him a first round pick, hey, give me you 2 second round picks for this year. But on the Lakers D, like, before we head out, I'm not giving up no first round pick for any trade with Russ. I rather them keep Russ and have him sit down with Darvin Ham, LeBron, Anthony Davis, and trying to figure out the best course to go with this squad.
Yeah, I mean that's like I said, it's a tough thing, but man, I ain't good with that. I definitely Russ can go for me.
But this has been our show tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in with tonight. Game 2 is going on right now, 40-40 tie between Boston and Golden State. D-Lock, how can the people find you on social media?
You guys can find me at Black-813. Black, the word -813. Definitely getting ready for after NBA Finals, the NBA Draft with the Orlando Magic. Let them know they can find you at, and let them know where they can find the podcast page as well.
Do tune in because we be talking about the Magic here a lot here in the next couple weeks. But do follow the show on Twitter at FastBreak IESR. That's FastBreak IESR. Also, do check out iesportsradio.com for all show needs and all the shows in the network. Got a lot of good things coming for y'all for the network. I do another show on the side called The Crooks Process. You can follow the show on Facebook and Instagram. Do follow me there. I posted an episode recently about the shootings that's been going on around the country. So do follow me there. But till then, ladies and gentlemen, next time, we'll be back here next week. Discuss some more NBA finals and get some NBA draft talk going. But till then, we're out.